everybody. Ooh, there's a little bird flying against the window. Our robin. We've heard it before, haven't we?
It's very angry.
Angry, sorry. It likes to come inside. So this is number 28, and what you need, we're going to do the chest opener. So some people use a spoon or a strap. You're going to do shoulder stand. So if you're doing it with some blankets, then maybe get that now. I think that's really all, the usual pillow. So, we're racing towards the end of the year. So we've got a few more people coming to the classes, but very few. Still quite empty classes, basically. I'm going to start with some kriyas. Kriyas are like, they come from the Kundalini, which is more usually faster. And the third one also does a bit more energetic breathing. So you can sit like this, with your knees quite wide. Sit on your heels, your feet are flat. If you can't sit like that, you're going to sit cross-legged. And it's really about just movement, repetitive movement, to loosen up and to also get out of your mind. That's a kind of Kundalini, they do a lot of those. So they'll do 3 of those to warm up. I don't think we've done those. So this is like a side stretch. You hold on to your upper arm above your elbow. Try and sort of sink into your heels. And you simply go from side to side. You breathe in when you come to the center, out as you go to the side. And just get into a flowing rhythm. So you don't need to stop in the center. And you'll find that you stretch those waist muscles, mainly maybe the back. Just get into a kind of swing, comfortable swing, don't force it. I'm going to do it for quite a while. See if you can do just the breath. You can't go too fast. Keep it loose. Get into a flow. You're beginning to feel it in different places. Keep going. So maybe your ankles, your feet. Facilitating agility. Another 10. So that's Kundalini, getting the energies flowing. And the next one also it's a twist. When you take your index finger and your thumb together, if you can't sit like this anymore, sit cross-legged. And you bring your elbows up in line with your shoulders, and your shoulder blades a little bit down. They'll pin against you slightly. If you can, we're going to work on that more later, and my tummy is slightly in. And you go in, out, and allow your trunk to swing. So your head goes with, and try and keep your elbows up, your shoulder blades down. In, out. Keep it loose. Might hear some crackling, might it? And the momentum gives you more of a twist over time. And then release. That's enough. Otherwise you might get dizzy. You can feel that I'm a little bit dizzy. And then bring your knees together. And your hands on there. And we're going to do the spinal, just the movement of the spine from the chest up and then rounding like this. You really feel the whole of your spine, but don't exaggerate. And it's a more forceful breath. So it's through your nose. Doesn't have to be too big. Start heating it up. Ten more. I want you to do 108. I don't think I quite got there, but you can feel the heat, the energy in the whole of your body. And just maybe sit like this if you can for a few more breaths. Feel the energy flow. Yeah, the whole body is exuding energy. It's quite interesting. And then we do the chest opener. So I like sitting like that. Some people might prefer sitting cross-legged. You take your left hand behind you, pull that elbow slightly rotated in, and the upper one, if you can touch or keep something in between, rotated out. So the left one in, and the upper one out. The danger is that you put your chest out, so bring it back, keep your head centered, rotate the left upper arm in, the right one out, and then center your head is up, pushing your chest out. And see if you can relax into it. I draw the side muscles, the latissimus dorsi, slightly down. And then, of course, the other way around, and it will feel different. So your palm facing out. If you can, get to your right elbow and pull it in and fit your right hand between the shoulder blades. Start pushing your chest out. Do the same, or use a spoon. The right upper arm rotates in, the left one out. Center and breathe. Pushing your inner knees slightly together will center you more. Yeah, so much more of a pull on this side. You're going to try it once more. And once you've got it, your chest is back, and if you're comfortable coming forward and down and want to stay like that, you can do that. Or if you want to stay up, stay up. Right one out, left one in. Chest back. Whole body awareness. Release. And then once more the other way around. Or stay up. Left elbow out, right one in. Chest back. Okay, so now the energies of the Kundalini 2 have sort of settled. And you're going to go into the Monkey King, which you know quite well. And it's going to get to your hamstrings a bit. Come forward with your right foot and your hands either side of the front foot. Drop your hip forward and down so you get the groin stretch. And as you breathe out, see if you can bring your foot up. Yeah. You might have to bend your knee slightly and then bring your head to the inside of the leg. And you really feel your hamstring. Breathing in, you can come forward. Breathing out, see if you can come down. Rounding your back as you bring your head to the inside of your leg. Maybe slightly bending your knee will be fine. And see if you can go a little bit deeper into it over time. We do it another 3 times dynamically. And then stay in the Monkey King, kind of curtsy position. If you can take your hands further, do so. Take your head to the inside of your leg, round your back, drop your chin. And if you can, bring your toes up. Quite strong on that inner right leg. Of course, the other way around. Move as the breath. Lock your hip forward and down. Slowly increasing the range if possible. Keep that whole body awareness. Try not to force and to engage the hamstring on the left. 3 more times dynamically. And then stay in it, work at it. Two more breaths. a moment, come into an eastern praying position. Back to symmetry, release your back. And now we're going to do the hamstring curls. So work the back of your leg and you rotate the back leg slightly in as you come into the basic table position. Extend the right leg. Rotate the thigh in. Try not to hang in your shoulders so you keep your side muscles down. And then as you breathe out, see if you can flex your foot. And it's almost like you have a magnet on your foot which is pulled to the ceiling. Extend. Armpits down and then bend. Without dropping your thigh. Two more on this side. It really engages your lower back and the back of your leg if you're high enough. Quite strongly. Rotate the left thigh slightly in. Last one. And come onto your back and circle your knees a few times. Smaller and larger circles in both directions. Really massaging your sacrum, keeping the shoulders released. Then you're going to do a simple bridge sequence, which you'll know well. So you drop your lower back, keep your feet a little bit lower and wider than your sitting bones. Shoulders released, and if you need to firm your head, always place it there. So this one you really move with the breath, and it's not about straining, it's about flowing with the breath. So as you breathe in, press into the mount of the big toe article and lift as high as you can. Then as you breathe out, press into your right foot and lift the leg as high as you can. Then lower, bend, replace and lift, all on that inhalation. Shoulders released. Keep your feet parallel, and as you breathe out, roll your spine mindfully back onto the floor. So you release your sacrum. Breathing in, roll up. Push up. Breathing out, extend. So you pull your heels away from each other. Lower, bend, and replace. So the knees are parallel, and then lift. As you drop, you do that, keep the big toe down. And then slowly roll your spine back onto the floor. Release the sacrum and your shoulders. Always release totally before you roll up again. Keeping the knees parallel, the feet parallel. A few more times. Make this the last one. We're going to stay in that bridge. Breathe out until you can keep your feet parallel. And stay there for 6 breaths. Totally releasing your shoulders, the back of your head. Feet centered. And then lift without straining. Keep the knees parallel, the big toe down. Roll down and do a nice strong inverted stretch. Flex your feet, lift your heels. Grow an inch but don't lock, so your armpits are down. For a moment, drop your arms, feet, and roll your head loosely from side to side a few times. Heavy and relaxed. And then we're going to do one of those boat variations, which gets to your abdominals. It's important to keep your knees slightly bent, the elbows slightly bent. It's the fascia ones, which you haven't done for a while. So you can follow, the legs and arms can follow each other. Keep your elbows and knees slightly bent. You can keep your heels, apart. Big toes together. Go lower, but I wouldn't strain my back. I really, so don't go too far. Like a rowing boat. Grounding your sacrum. Now we're going to go in opposite direction. Keep your elbows slightly bent, knees soft. Use your core. A bit like an elastic widening and coming together. Do it twice more. And then maybe do one or two when you go wide. Into your heels, keep the sacrum grounded. Stay there for a few breaths. Cross. And again. Release your shoulders. And just bring your knees to your chest. Relax. I'm going to do a twist where you bring your feet a little bit beyond your knees, a little bit apart, maybe sitting bones apart, and make a right angle with your arms. You take your shoulder blades down, your palms facing up, more or less making a right angle. So watch it, your shoulder blades are grounded, armpits down, so you don't do what I do now, hollowing. And if you can, elbows on the floor, right angle more or less. And then slowly drop to the right. As you breathe in, come back up. Make it a smooth journey. See if you can keep your shoulders pinned down and allow the rest of your body to follow. So you feel it now your right hip. Keep that right shoulder down. Roll up smoothly, and then as you breathe out into the opposite twist. So your head will roll slightly to the opposite side, but your shoulders are grounded. Elbows are down. The danger is that you hunch your shoulders to your ears. Keep them pressed back and down, armpits down. It's quite a lot of work for your core, at least for me. Or you tighten the buttocks, abdominals. But your shoulders are independent of the hip movement. See if you can control the speed of your legs moving. Now the next time you come to the right, you're going to stay there. So your head will go slightly to the left. Soles of your feet will be off the floor. Your shoulders and your shoulder blades are grounded. And just breathe into the belly. Don't have to hold it. Feeling the traction on the left side maybe. Whole body awareness. Try and relax totally. It's one of those gravity ones. I feel quite a shift. I slowly move deeper into it. So make it another 3-4 breath. You should let go of any holding. I'm going to move across. Head slightly to the right. And again, relax into it. Soles of your feet will be off the floor. And as you breathe out, it's again one of those where you use the breath to drop deeper into gravity. Releasing tightness in your right hip. Maybe soft, natural breath. Feel how the shoulders ground more, knees drop more, another 4 breath. And you can bring your arms down for a moment, come into lying down butterfly, centering your sacrum. Opening the groin, another 3 breaths. Okay, now one of those ones where you target smaller muscles in the inner groin, hip, buttock area. You can have your arms down or up. If you have them up, you might give a stronger pull. Your feet are natural distance parallel. The most important thing is to create what we call a neutral back. So allow the contents of your abdominals to drop. And then maybe shift your tailbone down and then bring your waist slightly down, moving, tilting a little bit towards the lower ribs a few times. And then find that neutral back, so you're not too hollow, not too arched. Lift and drop your shoulders and really release the weight of your sacrum, just the contents, the things that are in there, intestines and so on. So let it drop. We do a lot of holding without knowing it. So release your shoulder blades, release your waist, the back of your sacrum and hip bones, and the contents. Really allow it to become heavy for a moment. Imagine that you feel the contents and you drop them. You have to consciously do that to descend the lower back deeper into your mat. Keeping your feet open, parallel, your knees over you, centered so they don't draw in or out. Big toe down. Once you feel you're really released, it takes me a while always to get into that lower part of my abdominals and sacrum and then let it go. I'm so used to holding it, the same as the shoulders. Once you've let it go, just lift it an inch at the most of the floor. So there's more pressure in your feet, there's more pressure in your ribs. So you're hanging there, literally. Once you've got that hanging action, you go back just off the floor, your ribs doing a bit more carrying, your feet carrying a bit more. Each time you breathe out, you press your inner thighs and knees or both together. Breathing in, bring them back to the starting position. So it's a very small motion. Keep the back supported and relaxed. Your hands are soft, your wrists are released, head centered. You're going to do that for quite a while and it will build up. You'll really feel it in the buttocks, in the inner thigh and groin, and even in the abdominals. It's going to build up. So each time you breathe out, you press the inner knees together as if you're holding a pencil between them, or pen or paper. Don't go beyond parallel. Keep the big toe and the mount of the big toe down, the feet open. And feel how the back settles the upper back, so you really carry that lower trunk. Keep your feet open, centered, shoulders released. They're not doing it. And you begin to feel how the musculature works. There's more of it kicking in. Keep your upper trunk relaxed, face relaxed. Move as the breath, mindfully. Keep your focus. Arms relaxed. Now getting to the back of my thighs as well. Engaging the smaller muscles. More of the abdominals kick in. Gluteus maximus. Do another 12. You feel how that whole area has kicked in a different way. Slowly release it. And just relax for a moment. Maybe take your knees to your chest and tuck them and maybe rock a few times. Allowing those muscles to soften and relax again. It's very good to strengthen that back area and buttock area. And then we'll do an upside down plank into forward bend a few times before we stand up. Keep the big toe down and then into forward bend. And just slowly warm up. Rotating the upper arm slightly out, maybe bending your knees slightly if you come forward. I'm going to do 3 more. And stay in a forward bend, sit as flat as you can. And if you feel it here, stop here. You can slide more. Take your sitting bones back, your chest forward, your elbows to the floor, and release your head. Use your exhalation to surrender into that. Rotating your thighs slightly in if you can. Another 6 breath. And just shake your legs as we tend to do to release the nerves. Working right into the hip. Do some large rotations right into your toes. Take the energy right into your toes. Now point, flex. We're going to stand there up. That's that little bird that flew against the window, singing. I'm going to do some experimental shoulder exercises where you learn how to use the shoulders properly. Because often those biceps get tears if you don't do it properly and don't use your shoulder blades like I'm doing now. There you round your back slightly. But if you keep your elbows as far back as your ears and then your forearms parallel with the floor, so your elbows are slightly drawn back, in line with your ears. Then as you extend your arms, you come back to that position with your lower arms, forearms parallel, hands slightly flexed, and feel how your shoulder blades draw down and together and you pin them against your back, almost like magnets. So try that a few times. And then your pectorals and your not the bicep, but the other triceps, they have a counter action, which often doesn't happen if you don't draw the shoulder blades down. I always say the armpit muscles, but it's the shoulder blades are pinned against your back like magnets, and it's really quite strong. And you have to have your elbows as far back as your ears, your elbows in line with your waist, your forearms parallel, and flex your hands. So it corrects that action in your back. It's quite strong. And it counteracts the front of the chest muscles. Now we're going to do another one, similar. So you make a right angle with your elbows as far back and as high as your shoulders and in line with your ears. Palms facing down, tummy slightly in, feet centered. And then you bring your forearms up and back with your fingers pointing to the ceiling. And again, the shoulder blades will pin against your back, drawing like magnets deeper into your back. And it counteracts the front of your body. Now once you have that, you can see what I'm doing now. I'm moving the hands so the little fingers move toward each other and then the thumbs move away from each other. You keep the elbows as high as your shoulders, not lower, and your shoulder blades will pin against your back. It looks sort of not much, but if you do it properly, it really activates the shoulder blades, also the armpit muscles, and that will then the biceps will be safe. They will extend, but the tendons will not tear, be overworked. We'll try it a few more times, rotating those little fingers toward each other and then the thumbs away from each other, keeping the elbows as high and as far back as your ears. Your side muscles down. It's quite a strong action, and it will help people with shoulder problems, because often we don't do that. Not only in weight bearing, but also in warriors, planks. Releasing. You may want to roll your shoulders a little bit. So this is a sequence we've done before during lockdown. So a large step forward is your right foot forward. As you breathe in, you come up, your front knee straight. As you breathe out, you come into forward bend. Then pull your shoulder blades down like you did just now. As your front knee bend and breathe out as you hold. Come up as you breathe in. Keep your front knee bent, facing forward. Breathe out, and then as you breathe in, bring your arms up, and as you breathe out, back into that forward bend. Come back with your front knee bent, Pause as you breathe out. Come up with your arms and breathe out with your knee bent. And then bring your arms up on an inhalation and come down on an exhalation. So that's the sequence. Back bend, armpits down, shoulder blades pinned against you. Come up as you breathe in, keep the knee bent, breathe out in there. Straighten the knee as you breathe in, forward and down as you breathe out. Pressing into your feet, see if you can come back, armpits down, shoulder blades pinned down. Come up as you breathe in with your knee bent, breathe out in that position, straighten your knee, breathe in, forward bend, and see if you can do that on your own. Seem to breathe quite fast. Some of you might breathe slower. It's similar with that shoulder action we did before. Release your head when you're down. Front hip back, back hip forward. Seem to stay there now for a few breaths. The same, a large step. Keep your knee straight as you breathe out into that forward bend. Keep your knee bent, push back with your elbows. Breathe out in that position, breathe in and breathe out in that position. And then come forward and down on the most faster breathe. Armpits down, shoulder blades pinned against you. Hold as you breathe out. Come up as you breathe in, hold as you breathe out. Forward bend with a straight knee and arms up and then come down. Find your rhythm. Center the hips. Strong in your feet. Moving with the breath. So you have to keep your mind there to manage it properly. And then stay there for a few more breaths in that forward bend on the left. And perhaps shake your legs if you need to. Going to do the eagle balance. Bend both your knees. See if you can wind your left leg around your right. Stay upright for the first eagle. If you can hook it easier, and then put your right over left, upright, tummy in, hips slightly forward. And slowly keeping that centeredness, that grip with both your knees bent, so if you can come into that focus of the eagle posture, focusing on the prey in the carpet beyond your fingers. Shoulders back, rounded back. Really strong in that one leg that you balance on and the foot. Keep it open. Now you feel the difference between your one and the other leg. Balancing on the right, on the left, keep your knee bent, wind your left leg around it. Left over right. Once you've got your grip, quite difficult if it's your weaker leg. Slowly come into the round eagle. You always drop your lower back a bit around your shoulders. If you can, rest on the top thigh, focusing. Whole body awareness. Balancing that left foot, keep it open. shake your legs and then come into a forward bend. Folding your arms, maybe feet wider, releasing your head. Relax totally. And do an inverted stretch without locking, extending, after that contracting, tying yourself in a knot, which the eagle feels like. I'm going to do now a warrior number 2, where you get that same shoulder challenge. If you use that shoulder awareness of pinning the shoulder blades against your back, and the second version makes that more possible. So extend, pull the heels in towards each other, keep your knee aligned, your shoulders down. Back arm is active as the front, and then turn your palms up, and automatically your shoulder blades will come down and like magnets press into your back. So you have that counterweight to the pectorals and the arm muscles. Keep the feet active, the arms wide, shoulder blades down, and then we're going to turn the hands back to normal, and once again we do the same. Totally centered, so your back arm is slightly more active than the front, and once again rotate and feel how that shoulder action happens more naturally, and also your armpit muscles are down. And come into the warrior number 1, look up, keep the heels pointing toward each other and press down. Keep the armpit shoulder blades down in this one as well, and then let go into a forward bend on the right and relax into it if you can. Bend your knee if you need to. Release your head. So it illustrates how in the Warriors 2 you can use the same position, particularly if you can turn your palm up in Warrior number 2. Radiating from the sternum out, pressing your heels in. Knee facing forward, armpits down. And hold that gift by turning your palms up, and feel how it affects your shoulder blades. Back to the regular one with your palms facing down, heels toward each other. Widening, back arm as active as the front, and then once again turn your palms up. And feel how the shoulder blades extend downwards and into your back. Back to normal, keep it if you can, that position. And then once again open out. It frees the shoulders, it's really lovely for your shoulders. Back into the warrior number 1. Keep the shoulder blades down. Look up. Activate your heels toward each other. And then you can release into a forward bend on the left. Front hip back, back hip forward, and release your head. Breathe. Relax into it. Come into a wide-legged forward bend. You can take your hands bending elbows backwards. You can take your head to the floor. Back to symmetry for a moment or 2. And then heel toe your feet closer together. I think it's the Dutch bicycle now, where you keep your back upright, keep your knees facing forward, elbows slightly bent, palms facing down. As centered as you can be, then roll onto your toes, and that's the challenge. To roll right onto your toes, keep the big toe down, arms slightly soft, knees facing forward, and it's quite strong on your quads. And do it again. Shoulders back, elbows slightly bent, knees facing forward as you go down with a straight back. And then right onto your toes. Balance. Breathe. Hold. Right onto your toes. Take a breath in between as you come back to standing with your heels down. The last one you always, as you remember, will go a little bit deeper. If you can, don't go too deep. And once you're there, keep your shoulders back, armpits down, shoulder blades down, and stay on those toes only. Breathe. Maybe fix your gaze. And come back. And I'm using a firm, you could have a book to put underneath your toes when you do the forward bend this time. So just to give your calves an extra stretch, if you put the ball of your foot on a book or a firm, whatever you've got, and then release into the forward bend, you'll feel that the back of your legs, particularly your calves, get an extra workout. With all the balancing we do, it's quite important to release the calves again. Release your head. And slowly come up. Do another inverted stretch with your feet on your book or firm. Pulling out. We're going to do a kind of reverse warrior triangle balance again. I'm afraid it's another balance. So it's a synergy, last part of it. Do the reverse warrior. Look up, open that front rib cage, then come into the classical triangle. Rotation of your feet with the unscrewing of the jaw. Breathe into the belly, your knees soft, open out, and then you're going to take we're going to do it once more, sorry. Keep your knee aligned, not pointing in. Back into the triangle, and really feel that you're radiating. Front hip slightly back, back hip slightly forward, and the lower back slightly bent, and the fingertips to your clavicle of your right hand elbow bent, and we're going to come in what they call the unsupported half moon. So you rotate the lower shoulder in, the upper shoulder a bit higher, flex your back foot and see if you can get into that half moon, a floating half moon. So it's a bit more tricky. And then you're supposed to bring your knee up, which I almost forgot. It's a counter stretch. Reverse warrior with your left foot forward. So go as far back as you can. Heels slightly in towards each other. Open the left side of your rib cage. And then come into the Trikonasana. Unscrewing of the jaw. Look up. Repeat it. Front knee bends. See how far you can go back. Back knee straight. Back into the triangle. Opening out. Fingertips to the collarbone or clavicle, palm facing up. A bit more tricky for me on my left leg, it's not as strong. So you can flex the back foot, rotate the upper trunk, and find your horizontal gradually. And see if you can hold it. Pressing into the back foot. And then again the counter stretch. Do it once more. Front knee bend, strong in your legs. You can pull the heels in towards each other. Slight back bend in the upper trunk and then into the counter stretch, which is the triangle. Shoulder blades down again. You can do the same. If you do this unscrewing of the jaw in the triangle, your lower back will round a bit. Radiating, breathe into the belly, knees soft. Fingertips to the clavicle. Slowly move into it so you can keep your balance. Use your core, flex your foot. Flex your left hand as well, which is parallel to your body, and flex the foot. It's elbow pointing to the floor. So you are only on your leg. Counter stretch. Reverse warrior. Press your feet slightly in. Look up. Proper triangle, breathe into the belly, knees soft. And screwing off the jaw with your feet will help the lower back. Repeat. fingertips to the clavicle, see if you can negotiate your weight on that front leg. Flex your foot, flex your upper hand, rotate, and keep your equilibrium as you slowly negotiate that horizontal position. And if you have to come in and out of it like I do, then do so till you get it. A lot of strength into that left leg. And then the counter stretch, and I come into a chair. It's a full stop. So we're going to do a sequence, one that you know quite well. So it's always the breath coming up as you breathe into the ceiling, Eastern praying position as you breathe out. Come into a dog with your head up, lift out of the shoulders, and then come onto your forehead, back into a dog with your head up, and then into a dog with your head down, and into a cat, Eastern praying position. So it's like a round, and it works actually quite well. Up to the ceiling on the inhalation, back into the Eastern praying position. Come into a dog with your head up. You should actually have your elbows more or less straight. Press back with your hands onto your forehead, elbows back. Back into the dog with your head down. Dog with your head down, and then come into the cat, Eastern praying position. I'm doing it now with my eyes closed. If you're ready to do it with your eyes closed, do it as well. So you know the first bit. Back onto your forehead. Use your elbows if that's too strong for your wrist. Come back into the dog with your head down. Immediately into the dog with your head down. And then cat, Eastern praying position. If you can do it with the breath, it flows very easily up to the ceiling. Eastern praying position as you breathe out. Dog with your head up, lift out of the shoulders. Head points up. Onto your forehead. Back into the dog with your head up. And then into the dog with your head down. To the cat, to the Eastern praying position, to the ceiling, breathe out in Eastern praying, dog with your head up as you breathe in, into your forehead as you breathe out, back into the dog with your head up as you breathe in, into the dog with your head down as you breathe out, cat as you breathe in, Eastern praying position. I think you should have it now. Move with the breath if you can, eyes closed. Get into a flow. So this is a new one, believe it or not. Now I'm holding it, dog with your head up, for 4, and then when you come into the dog with your head down, also for 4, so this is your last one. And then come into the cat and immediately into the Eastern praying position. For a moment, release your back totally and your wrists. Allow your back to settle. We're going to do a plank variation, the one that we've practiced quite often. So you bring your right foot forward, and then your hands are full length further back behind that foot, and you line up both hands. Bend your elbows backwards until your right elbow pokes into your right back of your thigh, but you need to extend the left leg with your toes curled. Chest forward, and you pull the back heel away, and your elbows are bent. So it's quite strong. It's strong on your wrist for many people. We're going to do it again now with your left foot forward. Take your hands a full length further back, facing forward. Extend the right leg And once it's far enough, the right elbow will poke in the middle of your left thigh. It's not always so easy. Press your chest forward. If you haven't done it before, it's not so easy, but many of us have mastered it after a while. Now you can try that again, if you find it quite tricky, which some of you will, particularly if you might not be part of my class. So you can do the forearm plank. Sitting bone slightly too high, but see if you can bring your chest forward, press your palms into each other and the elbows back. Armpits are down again, the shoulder blades are pressed against you as we did in that first exercise of the class. It's much easier than the other one, but it's also effective. And for a moment release back into an Eastern praying position. And finish if you haven't finished. Take your time to finish. We are going to do the shoulder stand, and as you know, I use blocks, and some of you may want to get your blankets, so put them out. If you can do it like I'm just demonstrating now, do it flat on the floor, and maybe the half one, so you don't have it not totally straight. And see again if you can draw those shoulder blades, armpits down, and get closer to your shoulders, keeping your head centered. And I'm doing it on the foam, and if you haven't got foams, you might use blankets. Younger people start with 6 blankets. And for some of you that will be easier. I just prefer to demonstrate it that way because you can see I get much more on my shoulders. Bring your elbows in, and of course some of you, if you have straps, could use the strap to bring the elbows more in as well. So you're really standing on your shoulders. It's supposed to slow down the heart rate. I never find that myself, and then sometimes it's easier to come up from the plow so that you're more on your shoulders and then come back up again. Reaching up. Sometimes tightening the buttocks helps. And you can also do variations where you widen the legs and do variations, one leg up, one leg down. Butterfly. Or just to stay up. And of course you can also move into the plow and come up again. Plow meaning both your feet down. Queen of the postures, working on the hormonal system, balancing it. And if you're in the plow, some people, when they're really comfortable, can take their hands to the toes, or you can take your hands to the floor as I'm doing. I can't do it when I'm flat on the floor, but I can do it on the foam. If you want to do the spider, bring your knees to your ears. I'm going to come out of it, and usually start with the knees to your chest and bring your nose to your knees. So you, for a moment, contract your neck in an opposite position. And then you could do the fishes, sitting on your hands. Slide your feet down and come right onto the crown and resist with your elbows. Draw your shoulder blades down and open that chest. From there we can come into the bridge for a moment, lifting off your hands, lifting the thighs, the hips, keep your feet centered so your neck can lengthen in that position, and do an inverted stretch. Pulling out vigorously, and then drop your arms, release, and allow your head to roll from side to side a few times, loosely, heavy and relaxed. Independent of your shoulder girdle, and then just relax. Take a breath or two. So that was our inversion. And now we're going to come into a wide leg position, interlacing your hands behind your head in such a way that your fingers are quite loose, so your elbows are wider. And if you find that tricky, and for lots of backs it is tricky, sit on a firm. Elbows as wide as you can, and then see if you can bring the one elbow towards the floor, it doesn't have to get there. And then follow it with your eyes, perhaps the one that's pointing to the ceiling. Keep your armpits and your shoulder blades down again. So again, you can become aware of how you use the shoulder muscles to counteract the triceps and the pectorals. They don't work on their own. They have a counterweight. It makes you more upright. And that's much better for your shoulders, so your upper arms can link into the shoulder girdle without straining. And then come into a forward bend on the right. Do halfway, try not to round your upper back, so always extend the chest forward. Bring your sitting bones further back. Press the back of your leg down, and if you can, release your head and slowly bring your elbows closer to the floor. Surrender slowly, so that your lower back lengthens and is not inactive. Pressing your sitting bone down, the back of your thigh down, and then release your head, chest forward. Creating more space in your lower back on the right. And doing some of the tension of all those balancing. As you stretch your hamstring, other way around, exactly the same. So you are doing it gradually, not just pushing it. Whole body awareness as you stay with the breath. Press your left sitting bone down and back. And of course in the center, so you can take your hands to the inside of your feet, or in the center. And again, sitting bones back. Maybe just on your forearms if that's enough, but you can go all the way. Try and bring your chest forward, sitting bones back, and reach into your heels. And use your breath to slowly relax deeper into it. You're not forcing, but you're surrendering rather. Again, it's going to be another bit of a hip stretch and of course the hamstring. So you put your left hand behind your straighten right leg and take your hand to the inside of your heel and push your leg up and back. You're in control, but you can give it quite a good stretch. You've already been stretching it, so that last little bit you may take it a bit further. Pushing it up and back. Supporting yourself with your left hand. Talk to it. You might find there's a difference, one might be stiffer. Try and get it as straight as possible. Supporting yourself with your right hand, but pulling with your left hand around the heel, keeping your chest up. I was amazed at the variety of ways we can stretch our legs. And then in a forward bend twist, take your left hand around your right foot and your right hand towards your left foot with your palm facing out across your ear. So extend that side of your body, the armpit. Keep your shoulder blades down and rotate. The other way around is just like a final stretch, getting to that rib cage. Rotate the upper shoulder higher, the lower shoulder in, palm facing out, and see if you can take hold of that foot. And if you need to bend your knee slightly, do so. A slight twist. And then just back to center for a few more breaths. And you've reached the finishing line of this class, and we're going to just do some breathing now. So that was the damage. I can feel it, quite a lot of balancing. But now we're going to do the dandelion breath, so you can exhale properly. And then we do a simple kriya, which you all know before you go into relaxation. So put on your tops if you need it, or socks. Quite know what the weather's going to be when you are doing this. And if you need to support of the wall, then sit against the wall or on a foam or on a pillow perhaps. And then when you're ready, you're going to breathe in and then until you're totally empty but not straining. It's important. So it's emphasizing that letting go, that breathing out. So do it in your own comfortable tempo. You tend to breathe out a bit more. Do it twice. Now your left. Just take a normal breath or two. We're going to lie down and do that kriya where your arms and your feet, your hands and feet and arms go in opposite direction, your head rolls in the same rhythm from side to side. So you've done it quite regularly. The whole idea is to get out of your mind, to release the body totally, and then we go into relaxation. So allow yourself to drop like a 5-pointed star more or less. And then so you can bring your hands in and closer. As you breathe in, allow your hands to roll out, your feet in, and then opposite. Keeping your elbows on the floor will be easier. Not that you can do it with your elbows off the floor, but I think it's easier. Just practice that a few times. Floppy. I always think of myself as a rag doll. And once you've got it going, totally relax. Allow your head to roll from side to side briskly without forcing it. Imagine you're made out of sand dust for a change. No burns. like tick-tock. Not to speed up a bit, just a heavy hit. Stay floppy. Maybe close your eyes. And try not to think. And then simply release. Feel the warmth, the body, the centrifuging of your energies, like going up and down, a drop into gravity. Allow your breath to be where it wants to be. It's like you're pinned more into the floor. And stay with the energy flow and that larger sensation of the space within and around you, allowing it to settle. Dropping into that spacious silence, feeling the boundlessness of your true nature. Filling yourself with a sense of peace and gratitude. Literally mindless, but present in your awareness beyond the mind. Which is non-local. Extending that sense of the present moment. slowly begin to feel the floor, the breath, close against your skin and become aware of your surrounding as you open your eyes. Perhaps rolling onto your side or bringing your knees to your chest, feeling the warmth of your body, your skin. And once you're grounded, come up and find a sitting position. So that was number 28. We've got now 7 classes, most of them quite small. So a few more people coming back. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for support. And we'll be back next week. It's number 29. Namaste. Stay well.